Good morning from paradise. My name is Crypto Amaru. We got Crypto Hitman in the house, and we are joined by David, the founder of one of our favorite projects. Been out for a while. It's been through a lot, the ups, the downs, but they're coming out strong in this bull run with a lot of awesome, exciting news. With that, David, pleasure to have you on. Would love for you to introduce yourself and your project, YakDao.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate the opportunity to be here on Crypto Paradise. I am David, aka Chief Yak at YakDao, and we've been building one of the first decentralized property acquisition and development projects in crypto for about 2 years now. We own over $1 million of real estate assets that has some beautiful outdoor recreation activities, as well as domes that have really high yields. And we're, I would say, also one of the pioneers in the RWA space. So taking revenue from the fiat Web2 world, bringing it back to the Web3 space, and looking to relaunch Yaks 2.0 into the market here very soon. So excited to talk about some updates around that.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, it's great to have you back. Yeah, YakDAO's been at this a long time. One thing that I love about it is, look, they have the property in North Carolina fully owned and fully developed, or 99% developed, I would say. I know there's still some finishing touches going on within the domes themselves, but this is a real glam site that people can go and visit, stay with their friends, their family. Obviously, the income generated from that, like you said, goes back to the Web3 world. So curious behind those, about those mechanisms. But I think it's pretty rare within the crypto space to have something that tangible there, already generating revenue. It's a pretty, it's exciting time for Yak 2.0, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's
For
nice.
sure.
It's pretty good timing for the launch of this, obviously, with the bull market here, but also the real world asset RWA sector is heating up a bit. This obviously falls within that sector. And a lot of people in the crypto space, through the bulls and the bears, are like, hey, I need to diversify into other real world income generating opportunities. And here is kind of what we see as the first chance to kind of get real estate exposure within the crypto market. So you get that leverage crypto play during the bull markets, but then during the bear markets, you have a real company, a real business, real assets that can continue to produce passive income for you as a token holder.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
super exciting. Super exciting. All right. So, David, tell us about Yaks 2.0. What should people know about sort of the relaunch of the token that's about to go down?
Sure. I think so. Over the course of, let's say, the last 6 months or so, we learned a lot about the industry. And we also interviewed a lot of, I would say, your traditional real estate investors, private equity funds, family offices. One of the things we realized was we needed to develop a way to acquire more properties at scale. So we've got this first property. We've utilized funds from our previous fundraisers to really buy the property outright, develop the property, bring it to market with some amazing units. But how do we scale that to dozens of properties around the world? And one of the issues and feedback that we were getting was, hey, I would love to invest in this long term or utilize the Yaks token as a return mechanism, but I don't want to have dilution on top. So one of the things we're doing with Yak 2.0 is we're reducing the supply by 20 million tokens. That's 20% of our total supply is essentially being eliminated or burned. And we're doing that because we don't need that. The project will never need this in the future to sell our token to acquire more properties. So what are we doing as a alternative? We're going to develop what we're calling property development pools. And these pools will basically, the DAO will bring property opportunities to investors. Investors can choose, to vote if they like the property or not. If property moves forward to the next phase, it then goes to funding phase, and from there, if it's funded, we go to market with that property. So how that works then is the buyback. So as properties produce revenue, Yaks has a mechanism where 30%, up to 30% of that revenue, the margin of that property, it goes directly back to buying the Yaks token. So if you just hold, let's say, $500 of the Yaks token, you're continuously getting that buy pressure from the project itself. But those tokens that are being bought back, they actually go to the pools, essentially. So those individual investors who may back a property, for example, are now benefiting from the Yaks tokens that are being deployed. So this whole mechanism, what this does is it eliminates the project from ever having to sell its own token to fund additional properties. It provides a platform for scale to acquire as many properties as the market will support, essentially, and as fast as we can build them. And then we can also do things like not just from a property standpoint, but a development standpoint. So you acquire a property, we could do a phase 1 development, phase 2 development. Maybe the community wants to add some trails that they think would generate more value for a property. We could provide proposals like that as well. So it just provides some dynamic opportunities for fundraising as well as for investors to get involved at different levels at YakDao.
And the nice thing is this isn't quite a hypothetical. You guys have already done a test run here. You have this property almost done, but you guys already created partnerships with Booking.com, VRBO. You're listed on Airbnb, Camp Native, and all these other things. So you guys already did the test run now that this property is built out, and you can get these listings out there and get that revenue started almost right away.
That's right. And in addition to that, we feel that after 2 years of working on this and essentially bootstrapping this, my background is I have raised venture capital multiple times. In fact, I came right from a VC call to this call where we are going to look at raising a venture capital round. That's an equity round in the business itself. But what that will do is potentially provide millions of dollars to provide us a significant marketing footprint in 2025, as well as launches onto centralized exchanges if and when that's relevant and there's an opportunity to do that. But it's really about I think in RWA, one of the things that every RWA project needs to do is it needs to be an adoption mechanism for the Web2 customer. So part of that is mogulrewards.com, which we've built out already, and is a referral mechanism for any guest that stays at our property to eventually become a buyer and contributor to the Yaks token. So we want to put some investment behind that and really scale the Web2 users that would be interested in owning a piece of real estate without having to go through, say, a fund or something like that. So it's a more accessible way to have a little bit of exposure for the 98th percentile that wouldn't qualify to be a part of like a private equity fund.
Yeah, and how cool is that? Somebody's out there staying, like, oh, wow, this property is really nice. This is pretty cool. And then they get, pitched, or they get an email and saying, hey, if you like the property, we're raising for another property. You can easily get involved without even understanding what you're doing just by hopping on board with the Web3 platform that you guys are creating. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I think we envision even QR codes on the check-in booklet that says want to be a fractional investor in real estate, and it takes you to the Mogul Rewards landing page, and then there's a bridge essentially for them to easily understand and buy the token in the future. So I think, again, I believe strongly RWA needs to be that mechanism. I think we have 6 or 7% of the world that's involved in Web3 today. And so we still have over 90% of the world that's never bought a Web3 asset. RWA is a tangible thing that people can understand. And so projects need to figure out these bridges, these marketing tactics, not just internal to Web3. So we're not just circulating cash between projects, but we're actually building sustainable inflows into the industry itself.
Yeah, I love that. I think the Yaks 2.0, as I understand it, has just broadened the horizons of the project dramatically, because whereas before it was arguably focused on the single piece of property that exists today, which is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that property is worth probably over $1 million. But Yaks 2.0 is a way of scaling this business and acquiring one, two, potentially dozens more properties over time. So all of a sudden, you went from something that was a bit limited in size and scope and potential to something that is much, much greater in potential. So I'm very excited about the launch of Yaks 2.0. I do have some other questions about it. I know you're doing a new token. I understand it's going to be on base chain. If you could tell us anything about the new token, I know there may be some opportunity for early investors to get involved with that. Of course, nothing on this channel's financial advice, but curious about Yaks 2.0, the token itself. What can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so the plan is to relaunch our token in the market, and we'll be doing that here, I believe, in the next couple of weeks. We're filling around to support a liquidity pool on base as well as some marketing budget. There's about $100,000 of USD that we're going to bring in for that. We have about 50% of that committed so far. So there is an opportunity for about $50,000 to come in. I've got meetings with 6 different launch pads, of which 4 of those are our previous partners actually this week. So after this call, throughout the week, I'm just connecting with our previous partners as well as a couple of additional. So I don't anticipate it being a challenge at all to fill that small round that we're raising right now to basically relaunch token on base, provide some marketing budget on the Web3 side. That'll be somewhat limited for a period until we raise the venture round, which I'm excited about because I think that puts us in a scenario where we could be spending, $50,000 a month as a project on Web3 marketing itself, in addition to acquisition of another property and other things that we could do with a much larger round of funding. But that won't provide any dilution to the token itself. This is the token price for this round is I think 0.125. So it's extremely what we assume is kind of a basement price and has a lot of room to run. Very low market cap. So there's a lot of upside, I believe, from where we're launching today.
Yeah, what I want people to focus on is if you guys go the VC route, you guys have $1 million property, say you bring in $100,000, $1 million, $3 million from a VC rounds, and you're talking about massive marketing and budget. You said $50,000 a month potentially if that happened for a micro cap fair launch token is kind of unheard of for this industry. And obviously then this would be a basement floor price. Everybody who had the original Yaks version 1 token, you'll be getting a 1-to-1 airdrop of the new token, as well as the token supply is being decreased by 20% already before they even enable, buybacks, burns, rewards, whatever from revenue. So I think that it's really poised and things are really lining up nicely, especially if you get that VC raise done. You're going to be in a position where you have more money in VC funds and the value of the property than even the value of the token itself, which means there's a big mispricing there and the market will wake up to that. Hopefully you get your viewership in front of RWA Play Crypto degens and they'll be like, wow, this has a $1 million market cap, but they're sitting on $1 million project and $3 million in funding. That's poised for explosive move higher.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole objective here is we've proven we can do the Web2 thing. We come from the VC space. I've raised VC 3 different times, had 3 different companies acquired in that space before. So we've never attempted it with YakDao. We wanted to do something differently, which we have. And it feels like right now the traction is there to really build that narrative it took a while to really understand. I think our founding team being from the Web2 side coming to Web3, there's a huge learning curve. Business is a little different. And so understanding, taking some of our lumps, we've taken them, right? We've taken some of those lumps, but we've kept on grinding. And I think that's important. As you look at a lot of projects in the space, if they get hit by something, they get knocked down, they go away. YakDao hasn't done that. We've been pretty resilient. Our property actually got hit by a hurricane. And fortunately, the property's in good shape and all that kind of good stuff. But The area got hit, and so there was some slowdowns with development and everything through those processes. Every step of the way in business, it's never easy. If it is easy, it's probably not real. That's one of the things that we've learned. And so, a lot of learnings the last 2 years on bringing a token to market, an NFT to market, as well as developing a project from the ground up. So I think we've kind of packaged all that up in a pretty interesting proposition to a venture fund to really scale a different offering for 98% of people that can't access these types of investments. And YakDao is trying to solve that. That's an incredible, huge total addressable market when you think about just pure dollars, how valuable that is.
Yeah, and I think another thing to note is it probably gets easier to actually make the venture fund a reality because of the regulatory clarity that's happening here in the United States. They're probably getting more enticed with the Bitcoin new all-time highs, Michael Saylor, Riot, and all these publicly traded companies buying Bitcoin. And you have BlackRock CEO talking about RWAs. So I think that is what is opening doors for you. On top of that, there's this big narrative that Trump is going to support made in America crypto assets. And of course, the Yak property currently is in America, and YakDao is being ran and founded by US citizens. So maybe that is something to lean into in the future as more regulation kind of opens up and gets more clear over the next 4 years.
I would agree with that. That's one of the reasons why we made the decision in the last 30 days to start looking at VC. The regulatory framework, we believe we're at the forefront of it in the US. It is going to open up significantly. And founding as a U.S. founder, when you are building a blockchain startup, you've got to jump through some international hoops, or in the past, you had to jump through some international hoops. I believe strongly in the future that YakDao will be a U.S. based C corporation, as well as a DAO, but the C corporation from the equity side of things. And we can build a valuable U.S. blockchain-based company with exposure to international partners as well. So that's exciting. Definitely feel like there's the changes and everything, and how the both large investors plus political landscape, that some of those changes are really in the benefit of projects like us and founders like us that hey, we're trying to do something innovative, better for the overall community. We shouldn't be treated like criminals, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I think, look, timing is everything in
Yeah.
in life and investing and everything else. And you think about when Yaks 1.0 launched. You guys launched in April of this year, right before a 7-month bear trend on Bitcoin. So the timing was terrible. You also launched on Arbitrum chain, which at the time, had some hype, but that has basically gone to the hype's gone away, and Arbitrum is sort of a forgotten chain. Whereas Base now, a lot of traction, obviously backed by Coinbase, not going anywhere, in all likelihood, and likely going to just continue to grow. You now have Bitcoin at all-time highs after all-time highs. The regulatory changes, the fact that the property itself has been dramatically improved with the domes having gone up, other basically improvements having been made, and then now with the platform, the kind of the Web 2.5 platform that you're talking about with the equity raise that's coming. So to me, Yaks 2.0 is a much, much better proposition than Yaks 1.0. Not financial advice as ever, but the timing on this, I think, is brilliant. And of course, the valuation to start, you're looking at about 1 million FTV, I believe, on this seed round here. And that's where the token is going to relaunch at. And that, to me, is quite low based on everything we just said in terms of the progress that's been made. So, any final thoughts today, guys? So, actually, let me ask you this: when can we expect Yaks 2.0? When launch?
Yeah, good question. So, like I said, we've got about $50,000 left to fill the round. We are taking we are taking commitments on that. You can visit our Telegram channel, which is just YakDao official on Telegram. If you guys want to drop that link in this video, that'd be helpful. And then so as soon as we fill that, which like I said, I've got 6 or 7 launch pads this week, as well as probably individuals that may see this or from our own community that are contributing. I think we can hopefully fill this by the end of the week. And then from there on out, it's really only about maybe a week or so of just, developing the token. We did have the token out before. And so anybody that had the Yaks 1.0 token is going to be airdropped 1-for-1. So founding team will ensure that that happens. So no dilution or issues with your last token. Really nothing to do there other than hold tight. We'll airdrop 1-for-1 as soon as the new token is launched. And then we'll go to market immediately thereafter.
Very good. Yeah, I think timing, like I said, is great in my opinion. Even if we're talking early January for the actual launch, I mean, the market's looking great. Bitcoin keeps going up. We haven't yet seen alt season in terms of low caps, but I believe that is coming in the early part of the new year. So whereas Yaks 1.0 launched at the beginning of a massive long downtrend, Yaks 2.0 feels like going to be launching at the beginning of a massively long uptrend. So timing very critical here, guys. Any final thoughts before we end this one? We'll have you on again, I'm sure, but any final thoughts from anyone?
Yeah, I'll just say thanks for having me on, guys. It's always been great. We've worked together for 2 years, so it's been great working with you guys. The community, I probably know most of the people that are going to watch this video, maybe even by name. So appreciate all of y'all. And the support that we've had from our community has been fantastic. It's small right now, but it's going to grow. And we appreciate the faith that everybody's had in our project to date.
I'm excited for the relaunch and to get the content on YakDao. Obviously, need to get out to the property, visit it, get a bunch of content when that happens. And it sounds like that's going to be happening very, very soon.
I'm making a trip out in May. Already committed to it. You're welcome to come with me, Nick. We'll love to do that with you and maybe bring Nate as well. Cool, guys. Well, great stuff. Appreciate the time. Yaks 2.0 coming very soon. And until then, we will see you guys on the beach.